In the town of Obanti, laughter was common, but not all laughter was kind. There lived a young woman named Ngozi, 19 years old, dark-skinned, soft-spoken, and hardworking. She sold roasted corn by the roadside with her widowed mother, Mama Urena. Every day, people mocked her. Not because she was rude or lazy, but because her head was bigger than most. Children sang, big head, can we hide under your shade? Even grown men whispered and laughed when she passed. Ngozi smiled to hide her pain, but when she got home, she wiped her tears quietly. Her mother always told her, "My daughter, the same people who laugh at you today will bow to you tomorrow." God hides beauty in strange places. But Ngozi never believed her. She just wanted to be normal. One afternoon, a loud drum echoed across the town. The king's messengers rode through the market, shouting, "Hear, O people of Obanti! Prince Somto returns tomorrow. Prepare for celebration." The town went wild. Women danced. Girls polished their skin with shea butter and braided their hair in styles meant to catch the prince's eye. Mama Urena turned to her daughter. "Ngozi, you must come. The whole town will be there. Who knows what tomorrow will bring?" Ngozi hesitated. "Mama, they will laugh again." Her mother smiled. "Let them laugh. Go with your head held high." That night, Ngozi couldn't sleep. She whispered to herself, maybe I will go." She didn't know that one decision would change everything. The next evening, the whole town gathered at the palace square. The air was full of music, drumming, and roasted meat. Prince Somto arrived on a white horse, wearing a red cap and gold beads. He was tall, handsome, and confident, the kind of man who had never known shame. The girls lined up, kneeling and greeting. When it was Ngozi's turn, her heart raced. She kept her head down, clutching her mother's old wrapper. Then the prince's voice rang out. "Who brought this one here?" Her head alone could block the sun. The crowd burst into laughter. Even the drummers stopped playing. Some people tried to hide their faces, others laughed until tears came. Ngozi froze. The world around her went silent. Her throat burned, but she didn't speak. She turned and walked away slowly, her bare feet kicking dust as people whispered behind her. That night, she sat outside, looking at the stars. "God," she whispered, "why did you make me like this? I didn't choose my head. If my pain means anything, show them you make no mistake." The next morning, screams came from the palace. The prince, who had gone to bed healthy, couldn't move his neck. His head had started swelling. By afternoon, it grew so heavy that he couldn't lift it. The palace doctors brought herbs and oils, but nothing worked. By night, his head had doubled in size. He cried in pain. "Why me? What is happening to me?" Queen Ijeoma, his mother, wept beside him. King Obianuju sent for healers from every village. None could help. On the fourth day, when all hope seemed lost, an old woman named Mama Chika arrived at the palace. She was known across kingdoms for her wisdom. Her eyes were sharp and her words always came true. She looked at the prince and sighed deeply. "This sickness is not of the body," she said slowly. "It is pride, and the spirit of one you mocked cries for justice." The king frowned. "What must we do?" Mama Chika closed her eyes for a moment. "The one he insulted must forgive him. Only her voice can release him." The palace went silent. The queen gasped. "Who did my son mock?" A servant whispered, "At the feast, he mocked a girl with a big head." The king's face hardened. "Find her. Bring her here. Now." When the guards arrived at Ngozi's small hut, she dropped her broom in fear. "Please," she begged, "I have done nothing wrong." One of the guards spoke softly. "The king requests your presence. The prince is dying." Mama Urena took her daughter's hand. "Don't be afraid, my child. The truth is walking before you. Go. At the palace gate, people stared. Some recognized her and whispered, "Isn't that the girl with the biggest head?" Inside the royal chamber, the prince lay pale and weak, his head swollen like a calabash, and resting on pillows. His eyes met Ngozi's, and filled with shame. When Ngozi approached, he burst into tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I mocked you. Please, forgive me." Ngozi knelt beside him. Her own tears fell onto his hand. "I forgive you," she said softly. "May your pride die and your heart live." At that very moment, the room changed. The air felt lighter. The prince gasped, and before everyone's eyes, his head began to shrink slowly. His breathing steadied. His eyes brightened. Queen Ijeoma screamed, "The gods have shown mercy." The healers dropped to their knees in awe. The king and queen cried. The servants fell to their knees. Mama Chika lifted her hands and said, "Pride brought sickness, but forgiveness brought healing." In minutes, the prince's head returned to normal. He sat up, crying openly. He took Ngozi's hands and said, "You healed me, the one I hurt most." Mama Urena, who had been waiting outside, was brought in. The king looked at her and said, "You raised a daughter purer than gold. Your pain has become the kingdom's blessing." News spread across Oba Nti. The people who had once laughed at Ngozi now bowed when they saw her. Mothers told their children, "Never laugh at others. Remember the girl with the big head." Day later, the prince walked through the market, healthy and strong. He went straight to Ngozi's hut with his father and mother behind him. He knelt before Ngozi and Mama Urena. "I once laughed at your pain," he said, "but your heart has more beauty than any crown. You saved my life when I didn't deserve it." The king turned to the crowd. "Let this be a lesson to all, no one is born lesser. He who mocks another mocks the gods who created them." From that day, Ngozi was treated with respect. The prince visited often, and over time, true friendship grew between them. Months later, one evening, he told his father, "I want to marry Ngozi." The king smiled. "A wise choice. She saved your life and taught you humility." The queen nodded. "Her beauty is in her heart, and that is the kind that never fades." That evening, he asked for her hand in marriage. At first, she refused, saying she didn't deserve a prince. But the king said, "A queen is not chosen by her face, but by her heart." Their wedding became the grandest celebration Oba Nti had ever seen. Drums echoed for miles. Villagers from distant lands came to watch the girl who was once mocked become a queen. When the prince and Ngozi stood before the crowd, he raised her hand and said, "The head I mocked became my crown of peace." Let this day remind us all, pride brings pain, but humility brings healing. The people cheered. Mama Urena wept tears of joy. That night, under the full moon, the new queen sat beside her husband in the palace garden. She smiled and whispered, "God didn't make a mistake after all." The prince held her hand and said, "No. He made a miracle." And from that day on, Oba Nti became known as the land where no one mocked another's body, because everyone remembered what pride once cost the prince. Moral of the story. Pride brings blindness, but forgiveness brings freedom. Never mock what you don't understand, for tomorrow, it might be the very thing that saves you. If this story touched your heart, follow for more true African folktales that teach through pain, destiny, and redemption. See you next time.